Hello. So I'm going to make a template that is basically what we did in class on Wednesday, but hopefully faster. And I wanted to just point something out that is weird about Visual Studio Code. If you make a folder inside a folder and there's no, files inside that folder, it'll like do this weird thing. Like if I was just to put like a index.html inside of templates, it will like stop doing that unless okay. Come on. Close. Yeah. Yeah. So now it's like normal. Cool. Okay. So new file. Just wanted to point that out because it's a little funky. Here's my index. I'm going to make a folder called basic site, and then it'll be like a little downloadable zip file. Basic site. First, I'm going to have that nav, and I'll do a couple different versions with the nav. Then I'm going to have like a main. Oh, wait. Yeah. We had the header first with a background image. Then we had main, then we had a footer, and in main I had a flexbox class equals. I'm just gonna kind of put parent in there. I'm gonna have a div with a class of left, the left column, and a class div with a class of right. And then if you remember from class, we had like a flex box inside of this left column. So I'll do that. But let's see. Let's do the nav first. We'll just do top down. And also I'm just gonna like open the live server now. Here's our lovely site. There's nothing in it. Nav. Okay, so I'm gonna use an unordered list, which is a bullet list. So first you have to call unordered list, and then you can say, this is my first list item. It's going to be a link, href equals something. And I'm just going to put a pound for that and something in between the starting anchor tag and the ending so that we can see the link. So there's our first link, and I'll just say link 1, link 2, link 3. I'll do 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, generic navigation. Then in the header, we have like a background image, and then I'm just going to have an H1 that says my website header. Very fancy H1. And let's give this a class of home page just to like instill this idea of like if you have a class on the body level, it'll like help you specify things farther down. Okay, so I don't have a CSS file, so I'm going to say new file. Make sure it's in the same folder as this correct index, style.css. I need to link to it in the head. So I'm going to do link and then tab. And then it's not in a folder, so I can just point right to the file and it'll find it. And I need a background image. I'm going to go grab one on Unsplash. Unsplash. Let's see, how am I feeling? I'm feeling peaches today. Peaches? I'm feeling peachy. Peach. I want it to be horizontal because it doesn't have to be. Here we go. We'll just do this. I'm feeling peachy. Okay. I can copy this and just put it in the CSS for that being nice. So if I do / asterisk, I can just put, oh, that's long, and then asterisk /. This could be like a comment about the background image. Just put it here. Background image on the header homepage. There. Now I can remember forever. Great. So the header needs, oops, typo. Header needs a height. We'll make it 400 pixels. it needs a background image. Background image colon URL parentheses. So I need to move this in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, if I control click on the name of the folder, I can say reveal in Finder. And then if I do Command N, or I can go up and say File, New Finder window, but Command N works great. And I'm going to grab that image from downloads. I don't like how long the file name is, so I'm going to call it Peach BG. And I'm going to make sure that it's all lowercase and there's no spaces. I'm also, while I'm here, going to make a new folder. New. It's just Command Shift N. I actually don't. I guess it's up here, but yeah. If you say new folder, Command Shift N, images. Make sure that's in the right folder. There we go. And put Peach in there. I'm like too slow. Okay, there we go. Now we can go back to Visual Studio Code and it's all set up for us. Okay, I'm in style. I need to go into images. So I'm going to say images / and then inside images, I want peach -bg and .jpeg. Okay, now let's see how we're doing so far. Basic site, there we go, not too bad. So a couple things. I haven't put any of those like default tags I like to put in, so let's do that now. Also, see how blown out this is? It's because the size of the picture on Unsplash is really big. So one, we want to tell all the images on our site to like start off being 100% of whatever space they're in. So let's do that. So default, well, yeah, okay. So there's the regular images that are in content. This keeps indenting. So if we find an image tag, we want it to be 100%. But in the case of this, that was weird. We want it to be background size instead of width, and we want it to say cover. So it'll do its best job to like fill in the space. So let's get rid of the 8 pixel annoyingness. So that is the body tag, body. We want to get rid of margin. And then the other default tag I always add in the beginning is box sizing. So asterisk is wildcard. It means every single tag. So only use it for this box sizing business. Box sizing. Am I doing this right? Why isn't it coming up? Sizing border box. Okay. Now we've got it's flush to the sides. No more of that 8 pixel malarkey. And we've got our header started. We'll position this text in a minute. Let's first do these links. So first thing we want to do is you can just sort of target that list. Like you're only going to use the nav tag for navigation. So it's pretty safe to not add a class, but you can always just add a class of top nav. I'm just going to say if you find an HTML tag called nav and inside of that tag you find a UL tag, then it's probably my top navigation. So I'm going to say list style none, and that'll get rid of the bullets. By bullets, I'm also going to make the unordered list the parent of a flexbox, right? So if we look at this, the UL is the parent here, and these are the direct children. So these are the things that are going to flex. So I'm going to say the UL, I want it to display flex, and now it'll go across instead of down. And then there's 2 ways, or there's a bunch of ways to align and justify your content. So justify is horizontal. So justify content There's one called space between, sorry. Space between, and I typoed. And that should stretch it out. Cool. So if you notice, there's like more margin over here than over here. So let's inspect. I'm going to control click, say inspect. And if I look at this, there's both green padding. So if you scroll down here, green stands for padding, and also orange margin. And we don't want either of those things. So like I want padding on the LIs actually inside, but not on the UL. So let's get rid of that. So padding 0, margin 0, 0. Cool. So now they're flush. Looks bad, but we're going to fix it. Now, let's make them, also let's make sure there's no other margin happening here. Why is the header not flush? You know what I'm saying? Body nav. Doesn't seem, oh, you know what? Look at this. Haha. It's the margin on my H1. And I'm gonna like get rid of it because I can. So I'm gonna say if it's in the header and it's the H1, I don't want it to have a margin. I'm gonna do other things to it later. Okay, so now I want to style my list. So I'm gonna say in the nav, if you find an LI, then I want you to give it a background color, and I'll just use the word background of some color. I'm gonna start with pink, and then come on, pink. Why is this background color should be coming up with a list? I feel like there's something going on here. I feel like this is causing trouble. Background color. Okay. I'm going to put that down at the bottom just in case. Background color, pink. Do I have a typo? Style.css. So let's check some things. No, see that? Look at this. This thinks that my file is a Django file instead of CSS. I don't know why. This should never ever happen to you. But what if it does? If it says some weird thing like that, you can choose. Oh, it was the comment that like threw it off. Okay. Now things are working more normal. Okay, so now I have this background color of pink. Sure, pinks. We'll just make it like a not HTML name. A dusty rose. Okay, so now each one of these has this like LI, but I want the padding on the top to be like 8 pixels. And let's see what that looks like. Padding. I don't know what I'm doing here. I can tell it's been a day. So there's a little bit of padding. I want like all the width of the LIs to be this background color though. Why aren't they stretching out? I guess they could be a width of 100%. Would that help? Yes, okay. Now when I hover over them, so now I'm going to change this, to say, okay, if I'm hovering over the nav, then instead of this pink, let's change it to nice minty green. There we go. Let's try that out. Cool. And then I could center the text. So I'm going to say LI text align center. Nice. And then the text color of the link is Funkadelic. I just want like a little bit more padding. So to change the color, you have to actually target the anchor tag. So I'm going to say nav A color equals, let's see, I'll start with pink and then I'll just go really dark, I guess. I don't know. Sure, it's terrible, but whatever. And then I can even change the color. Let's see, if I hover over the LI, it's only going to change the color if I hover over the A. So I'll show you how to do that in JavaScript. But so here's our nav. We could use, so we have this RGB color, so we could easily change it to A and make it slightly transparent or solid if we do 1, or 0.6 for like partially transparent. We could keep the green partially transparent, 0.6. And so now we've got like a semi-transparent background. Oh, it's not on top of the header, so you can't tell. So right now the content's flowing, which means the header, the nav is a solid block. Then after that block finishes, the header shows up, and then main is down here. So watch this. If I change the nav, so all of this stuff, not just the UL, but if I say my nav tag should be position, and we can change it to a bunch of things. We can say fixed, and then it'll kind of stick to the top. And then we have to change the width of things, because now it doesn't know how wide to be. So if I give it a viewport width, does that fix it? There we go. Okay, and then now see how the H1 is like overlapping? It's because the whole header has been moved up. So here's a cool trick. Flexbox has all of these align and justify things, right, that I was talking about. So you can align things up and down using Flexbox. And in this case of the header, we only have one item in the header. Let's go look at it. There's only one H1. So if I put Flexbox on the header, it kind of seems like a weird thing to do, right? But I can use the align properties of Flexbox to align this where, like in the middle of this box. So let's try it. So for header, I'm going to say display flex. I always do a capital L instead of a colon. And then I'm going to say align items. And I can say, so this is up and down. And I like to think of align as like the capital A is like an arrow. So it goes up and down. That's how I remember. We could say flex end. That would put it on the bottom. We could do center, and that would center it. Let's try flex end and make sure that that works. And then there you go. Flex end is at the bottom. And then we could also do justify content. And then if we say end, it'll put it at the far right, or flex end. I think it's kind of the same. So let's try that. I think there's also a right property. And so here we are. And we could add some padding to the H1 to get it a little bit away from the corner. So I'm going to say, don't I have a header H1 here? Yeah, there it is. I'm going to put it up closer to my other header stuff. Okay. Header H1. So there's no margin, but I want padding. I'm going to give it like 40 pixels. Now it's a little bit away from the corner. And I don't know, maybe I'll change the color. Make it some sort of green. Lawn green, light green. Okay. Sweet. Okay, main. Let's move on to main. So main, we had on the left, we were going to do, I think it was like, it was some words and then 2 columns of text, or 2 columns of pictures. So I'm just going to put some more in here. Then I'm going to have, because we're already in a div, I'm just going to keep using these semantic tags to my benefit. I'm going to add an article and I'm going to give it a class of like 2-column content. Seems like a good name for a class. I'm just kind of making it up. Now that I'm in the article, I feel like I can just go back to div. So both of these are going to be pictures and they're basically going to be the same style. So I don't really have to give them a class. I can just identify them by this class and I'm going to give them just some kittens because it's fast. So http://placekitten.com. And I'll make them like 400 by 500. And then same thing, I'll just replace. And the way that this website Place Kitten does images is if like the image size is slightly different, it'll give you a different image. So let's see how it is. Giant cats. They're basically the divs they're in are trying to be 100% wide. So they're stretching out on the page. So let's go back. On the right-hand side, I think we just had some text. So I'm going to put that content in. Lorem 50. Okay. So we have 2 flex boxes we need to do. One of them, the parent, is the flex box, and we've got a div with like a bunch of content and then a div with just a paragraph. So this left div is where we've got both the picture and then like basically another flex box. So I'm going to say parent should be, let's go here, dot parent, display flex. I did it again. Okay, now we've got 2 columns. Cool. And I want parent is like squished up against the both sides, right? So I want it to be less than 100% wide. So I'm going to go width of 80%. And here's the trick on how to get it centered. I'm going to say, make sure the margins like figure themselves out on the right and left. Just make sure the box is 80%. So here we go on that. And then the columns are not 50-50. So let's fix that. So div left, div right. So in this case, I just want them to be 50-50. So I can just say parent, if you find the immediate div, make it flex the same size as any other div. So 2 divs. And remember the way Flexbox works, it only cares about its immediate children. It doesn't care about its grandchildren. So here's the parent. Here's its immediate kid. If I click this arrow to close that, I can see the other immediate kid is here. Doesn't care about any other divs inside here. It only cares about this div. Also doesn't care about the paragraph or this article. It only cares about this div and this div. Okay, now they're even Steven. And let's add a flex box here, and then we'll fix the padding. Okay, so in the left column, we've got another one called 2-column content that has divs. So I'm going to say 2-column content should also be display flex. And if you find 2-column content and you find a div, then make them flex the same. So both kitties should be equal. So all this stuff is such a mess, right? So first thing is I want to add some padding to the images in here. So I'm going to say if I'm in 2-column content and I'm an image, this is where I'm always like, do you want to add the padding to the image or the div? To the image in this case. I'll just give them a little bit of padding. You'd have to do like padding left 0 if you wanted this to align up with the text. these two paragraphs, let's see. I kind of want it so that like this paragraph has a little bit of padding on the right and this one has padding on the left. So if we look at this, a couple ways we could do that. So here's the right. So we could put padding on that whole div, and then any other content we put in there would also have padding. That seems like the best move. So here's parent. We're going to say in parent, if it's the right-hand side, give it some padding left of like 40 pixels. And then we'll do the other thing to the left. We'll say if it's the left column, give it some padding right. Okay, so the left-hand column has 40 pixels, and the right-hand column also has 40 pixels, making 80 pixels altogether. Okay, footer, really quickly, a footer. We'll just put some, a bunch of footer content. So if I want my footer to be a color, like let's just make our footer fodder be like a dark gray background. And we want it to be 100% across, but we want like the content to not go all the way across. We can have a div and do the same thing where we say make it a width of 80% and then make it have a margin that's auto, again with the capital L. And then also I'm just going to say all the color for the text should be white. So there's our footer. On footer, I'm going to add some padding just to the top and bottom because we don't want it to like add to this width. So I'm going to give it like 90 pixels on the top and bottom and 0 on the left and right. So if there's only two numbers, it says cool, top, bottom, and then the second number is left, right. Cool. That's awfully patty, but that's okay. Oh yeah, this whiteness, it's just like it's part of the scroll. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing that you really should because it's part of the deal. Okay, what else? This is a little bit smushed up here. We probably want like a H2 or something. So let's see. That's main. Main has a section with 2 columns. So I could like I could put it here. Here's my header 2. And then it's like out of the flow of these columns. There's also a way. Oh, did I close the tab? That you can have 2 columns with flexbox. Oh, it would just be. That's what we would do. I would say you'd have to like, I don't like that. I'd rather just like have the H2 here since it's just white and just say if you run across an H2, and maybe this is where we use home dash page, that body tag. And we say also make it be, where's main parent? This width of 80%. Because H2 is just a display block, just like the rest. It just has some margin, basic. Okay, and then we could add some like margin top here, 80 pixels. And then it adds, since there's 2, it adds to the top and the bottom. So we could do 80 and then maybe 20 and then auto. So what this says is top 80, right auto, bottom 20, left auto. That's okay. That's fine. Okay, so that's one. I'm gonna stop this, and then the next video, holy cow, half an hour, is gonna be about how to modify this and have like a logo. Okay, cool. Thanks.